So what's brought you here? See Rajnivas? Why? What's the curiosity in your mind? What's the question in your mind? What's the feeling in your mind? I inspired you. In what way? Independent woman. You all want to be independent? Are you sure? But why independent? Why? Why do you want to be independent when you can be dependent? You can be dependent. Yes. In the past, our mothers were dependent, weren't they? Wherever our mother, dependent financially, not necessarily always mentally, but certainly financially, because our mothers never went out to work. Their parents, that generation, had nothing, something like what we do going through. And they were married off early, and education wasn't a priority. Literacy was, but not that generation. It was a priority. Well, psychologically, mentally, they could be strong. But when it came to home, roof, financial, they were dependent on our fathers. And our fathers decided how much mummy would get. Mummy would ask more, and she would probably say, "Zarorat nahi hai. Isi mein guzara karo." Or work within the means, this is all. So she had to manage. So what's changed? Isn't that a very secure life where you don't have to go out to earn, no boy teasing, no Eve teasing, you stay at home, you look good, you can wear the clothes you wear, and you can go out for parties, of course, with daddy. Why change? Why independence? Why should you be independent? Well, that's a very secure world. It's a very secure world. Isn't it? Isn't it? Not really. Why is that not secure world? Huh? We know we have to leave it one day. Is that the only reason that we have to leave it one day? Leave what? Leave what? Which home? Parents' home or husband's home? Which home? Parents' home. Yes, that. Whether you leave or not is your choice. Today it's a choice. Earlier it wasn't. Now it's your choice, you want to leave home or not. Or your parents want you, or they want you out or not. That's a choice now. Parents are also making, you people are making. Earlier there was no choice. Earlier a woman was brought up to move out. In fact, earlier many opportunities, I had my friends whose opportunities were closing down every day. I saw them closing down when I was growing up. I saw their opportunities closing down. And closing down was huge amount of savings being saved for them to be married off and to have enough security. I'm not talking of a generation too far. Whereas in my case, I found everyday opportunities growing. More and more doors opening for me without I knowing that my parents are opening my doors. All the time, every day. And with my same friends in NCC uniform, when I look at my photographs of my college days, I see them also in uniform. They're a part of the platoon. We used to march every day. I still remember their names. We used to have a lot of fun, go biking. But for them, the opportunities were closing down. And in the end, they finally settled down, very secure, happily wherever. Whereas in my case, the whole world was just open for me to make my choices. I had no idea what it meant. You are in that second situation now. You can fall back easily in the first situation if you choose to. But you are also now, it's not you only who's opening up your opportunities, let me tell you. The circumstances are throwing you into open opportunities today. They're throwing you into it. You don't have a choice anymore to an extent. There's a generation of amongst women here who have no choice. But today you have a choice of going into an insecure world full of opportunities. And you have a choice of going into a locked-in world which there may be security, there may be not. But that will certainly mean a surrender. Surrender to a status quo. Whereas there's an opportunity where it's throwing away security, throwing away this kind of status quoism and opening yourself to all forms of challenges where you're on your own taking on the risks of life from all directions, including physical attacks. There, you may, in the world of status quo, you may have no physical attack, but you may have a domestic attack. Whereas in this world, you can ward off an attack and yet be attacked externally. But the fact is, you will be your own master. You will be your own decider. Why has this change come? The previous generation has taken you to this stage. Why has it taken? They had a thirst of. Is it because they wanted you? Is it because they wanted you? There is an element in this, because I remember my mother also used to say that I don't want you to be doing all the time what I do, which is caring for us. Though she loved us, but she said, this is not what I wanted to be all the time, is only taking care of you. I wanted to be something else. Therefore, be something else. I remember my mom also you said it. But is that the only reason? That they forced us into this? Or they found an expression of their own fulfillment through us? Is that the only reason? Huh? That's part of it. Any other? Huh? Self-respect. They wanted it, or the circumstances now are taking us towards seeking self-respect and seeking our own identity. I think the key is now women are looking at their own identity. Why aren't many women who get married don't want to give up their maiden surname? Why? Why don't they want to give up their maiden surname? Why? Why? It's their own identity. It's their own sense of fulfillment. So when I'm saying or when I'm taking you towards this understanding, you must know why are you being so highly qualified, educated, skilled? Why? To take you out of this contradiction and be vulnerable. You are vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to achieve. But vulnerable not to drown. Vulnerable to fly. Lighten yourself to have wings and fly. Vulnerable to fly. And vulnerable to fly means that if you want to be flying, you have to learn to fly. Train to fly. Strong wings to fly. In fact, carry people along. Wings so strong that you take people along. Take people along. And not fall yourself, but be in a situation. Don't men take along? They so naturally grow. Boys so naturally grow. Develop their wings. Start flying when they're small and take mommy, daddy along. Sisters, brothers along. Don't they? Yes or no? Why not we? Why not we girls always think like this? I'll develop my wings. I'll take my parents behind my back, on my back if I need. I carry my family with me. I will be as in the same flight as my brother. I'll be in the same flight. Why not? Do we still think like that? Or do we still have a little question mark? I think we still have a question mark. In preparation, yes. In preparation, yes. In preparation, still yes. I want that bit also. I want your little bit of your wing. I'll have my own wings. I'll see whether I want to switch to your wings. It's still a dependence psychologically. I want my wings. I want to keep them, But I don't mind your wings, and I'll sit on them and see which wings I want to fly. You still want choices. Unless you snap that choice, you have those wings, you have these wings, fly together, but you're not dependent on anybody's wings. That is the stage where if you come, then you are realizing your potential, you're realizing your identity fully. Partnership doesn't mean necessarily dependence. So having partners in life doesn't mean, it means interdependence and not dependence. It's sharing, not dependence, not slavery, not surrender. Sharing doesn't mean surrender. Sharing means give and take. I do this for you, you do this for me. But it's not a transactional relationship. It's my choice how much I want to. But yet, that is the kind of toughness I'm talking about. Are you moving towards that? Which means heavy, hard work right now to be very strong, passionate entrepreneurs, businesswomen, in service community, to find your feet and do nothing else till you find your feet. Many of you will be held back by your families and to say, no, no, this is the right choice. We are growing old. You better get lost. Am I right? How much? Or am I wrong? How much? We haven't yet reached that liberating stage where the woman says, I am first finding my identity, finding my feet, and then mommy, daddy, I'll decide for myself. You relax. And then, after that, be able to then choose my own course and walk it. Come what may, not sulking, not crying, where am I got lost, is to know where I'm going. This is the stage which you can go, choose to go, but it means a lot of hard work. It means a lot of burning your boats, burning your bridges, and then never look back, move on. You understand that? And for that it needs total being a woman, but no less than any man. Being very physically courageous, no less than any man. Being very economically independent, no less than any man. Taking on the challenges, no less than any man. Cry for a while, but not enough. Not keep crying. Cry a bit, but then move on. Maybe not even cry. There's a need to cry, there's no time to waste. I want to think, you to think this. This is the way it was for me many years ago, where it was not resting on anybody's oars but mine. Even if it was an oar as a temptation, no, rejected. I will fly, I will row on my own. For that you need to be very strong in mind and be physically very agile and fit. You all must be physically very fit, have a lot of energy with you, energetic, total clarity in your own minds. What do I want to be? How do I want to spend the rest of my life? You know, before me are 80 years of life sitting here, minimum. I'm looking at the society 80 years ahead. I see in you 80 years is no joke. How are you going to spend your next 80 years? Average lifespan is becoming 100 years now. Now it's going to be 100 years in your generation. So how are you going to spend your next 80 years if you live up to be 100? Or if you live up to be 80, 80 is the normal norm now. With food, nutrition, healthy, pollution may cut it short. How are you going to spend your next 60 years? Have you thought about it? Nobody made me think 60 years ahead. Nobody think, because I had no time to sit and think. I was just all the time working, playing, reading, studying, not knowing what's lying ahead. All I think, what is there to do? But you have to think today, my 60 years ahead, 70 years ahead. That's what this meeting is about. Pick up a pencil and paper when you go back tonight and draw out your next 70 years. Financially, economically, psychologically, physically, environmentally, professionally, personally. But then you said, oh ma'am, but it's always said future is not asked to see. Yes, future is not asked to see, but when does it say don't prepare? Future is not asked to see, but future doesn't say don't prepare. So what's your preparation? Does the future say don't prepare? Future says prepare. But there's no guarantee there will be a tomorrow. But there's no guarantee that there won't be a tomorrow. And if there is a tomorrow, then what is it going to be like? And every tomorrow becomes a today. So are you worried? No? Why aren't you worried? It's a very ahead for you. It's going to be might is right also. So how will you match the might? Not always right will be might. Might may be right. So how will you take on the might? Might of the society in many ways. Vested interests, gender issues, disasters, climate changes. All this is going to happen in your life. Medical issues, family tragedies. That's life all about. It's dotted with all these agonies and ecstasies. So how will you stand up like a rock to say, I'll not protect my own self and be a protector to the others? Or will you crumble? Will you give in? Will you give up and seek help? Is it too much said? Am I worrying you? It should worry you. Or you've been told this earlier. Your parents have already sounded this bugle of alertness. Yes, that's right. But did you do it? Do you take it seriously? Those of you who will take this seriously will move up stronger and faster. Those who don't take it seriously will learn it the hard way. So what does it mean in brief? Whatever you're studying, that's your life now. Not a day to lose. Not a period to lose, not a subject to lose. Not a class to lose. And not a minute of research to lose. Be the best in what you're doing. What is the crux? This. What do you have right now? What are you doing right now? You are studying, right? So be students A class. Secondly, you're all in college. Your facilities in college, use all of them. You're paying for all of them. You're paying for all your college facilities. Use all of them. You don't have to compete in your class, in your this thing, just to come first. You're into it to learn, enjoy, make friends, experience, participate, have fun, to live with those memories, to have those memories. You never know what will pay. Because you paid for every book which is in your college. You paid for every hall that's in your in your school. You paid for any activity which is with you in the college. You paid for it. That's your fee. But that's your future. If you acquire one of those college, then you will start telling, your mind will start telling you, what is it that you're very comfortable in? What is it that you like? And the moment you know what you like, then you start developing on that and be its master. That's being never at work. Never at work, because you're doing something you enjoy. And then choose your path, but do alongside a lot of internal strengthening. Understand your family is also your responsibility. So how you grow to fulfill that? Even if they say they don't, they're not, they are. And the best time to do is network now. Make such strong bonding friendships that they last you through. You work together maybe. You work together maybe. Why work alone? If you are going to be into private entrepreneurship, Form groups yourself now. Start working small entrepreneurship now. If you're going to go into business, form groups now and start experimenting. So you never know which friend at what stage. Today at this age, we are, thanks to technology, we are tracing back our school friends. And it's gold, because old is gold. You start off from where you left. You don't have to worry. You're there. You don't have to say, "Tu pehle kya karti thi, ab kya karti," sab pata hai. They are such strong bonds. Right? So this is where you are, which means play, sing, dance, make friends, research, work hard, because this is your earning, real earning of this life. And that earning becomes such a strong foundation that you keep building on it for the rest of your life, but which will weather all the storms as they come. Okay. Thank you. I've said it enough. What are your questions after this?
So, ma'am, as you said, the right is not always the right. The might is called as the right. So now, I just want to ask you that most of the times, when you oppose the might, you're termed as an arrogant person. Have you ever been termed as an arrogant person, and how did you take it? How did you face it if you have been termed as one?
How does it matter what I'm termed at? I have to know whether I fought it rightly or not. Every day you're not looking for, am I applauded or not? You have to first answer your conscience whether I've done the right thing. How does it, everybody will term it as per their own thinking. So have I continued to be molding my behavior as per your thinking, her thinking, or my own thinking? But I must be capable of my own sound decision making and taking the risks as they come. Which means this is a training in thinking. You have to train every day about your own thinking. How do you train thinking? How do you train your thinking? By confidence building, by doing, experiencing, learning. This is the time when you could make a mistake. Later on, that mistake will be very heavy.
Actually, this question itself arises from a personal experience.
Good. So did you get some answer?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Ma'am, could you please tell us some tips how to be a good decision maker in our life?
First of all, what is the decision you want?
Anything, ma'am.
So work it backwards. If you want for instance, let's say a business, let's say you want to do a particular business. That's a goal? Is that your decision? It's not a decision, it's a proposition. It's an imagination. What is it that you want? It's whether it's a personal life decision or it's a business decision. What is it that you want? I do not know. I'm only creating a hypothesis. All right? If it was, then you have to work it backwards. What is it that needs for that decision? What kind of inputs it needs? Supposing you want to be a champion. I have decided to be a champion. Oh, great. So may I sit down then, be a champion? I sit down, I won't be a champion. Then I have to get out there. Now, what is it that championship needs? How far do I want to go? Do I still want to stick at A, B or C medal? Oh no, I want to get the A medal. Then what is it? Who got the A medal? I'll research. I'll find out what makes you get an A medal. A medal means so many biceps, so much of hard work, so many hours of work every day. Do I have that energy? Do I have that willingness? Yes. Start that journey. Plan out your day by day. That's a decision. But you taking your decision it doesn't fall into your lap. It's a decision which itself is a destination. And all the steps have to be taken towards achieving it. First of all, is your decision right? Is your decision a right decision, a good decision? I do not know. It all depends. If it's an achievement, it's a right decision. But if it's a choice between friends and friends, then sit down and work it out. Who is better? What is it that is attracting you towards that person? What is it? I do not know. Every would have its own step, but you've got to be clear in your own mind why you want this, how you want this, when you want it. So all the when, the why, the how will all come in, and maybe if you are not consulting anybody, you will put it down in a piece of paper and start taking the ladder. It's climbing a ladder on a regular basis. So it is a decision, is a ladder, but you have to get that ladder and start moving towards that ladder. You'll reach the top, which is your decision. So it's a method. It's a process. It's also reflection. You may fail a bit, but that's your decision. And you realize, why did I slip back? Then you correct it, go back on it, because that's your decision, because you think that's a right decision. Suppose you want to do a business. You will study that business. You'll research fully. You'll go and see who succeeded in that business. How can I do it? Where do I study? Where do I get the admission? Where do I get the funding? Whose mentorship do I accept? Right? This is, but your decision is to be that. So it's a goal. It's a destination. But you start looking out, what is the way to it? Sometimes the mind, this brilliant, what we are creating into artificial intelligence, it's a natural intelligence. It starts connecting the dots in your own mind and answers you within split seconds. Because your mind is connecting the dots, because you've posed it a challenge. So unless you know what you want, or why you want, and it's the right decision you think, your mind, that clarity is first, and then your mind generates connectivity, networking, energy to give you the answers. So as I said, clarity leads to energy, energy leads to success. This is very clearly a researched mantra. Clarity in whatever you do, clarity generates energy, and energy takes you to success. But no clarity creates confusion, which dissipates your energy. How will you succeed? So you want to succeed, first thing, whatever you do is clear in your mind. Why do I want it? How do I want it? Where do I want it? When do I want it? Am I capable of it? If not, what is it that I do? I become capable. So what do? You then prepare to make that happen. You will eat the right food, you will get up at the right time, you will study, research, friends, it's all. So what will happen? You will not fall into toxic relationships, you will stay positive and you'll generate energy. You'll succeed because you got clarity.
Something on leadership, ma'am. How to take everyone along and work as a team?
How do you take along?
Everyone along and work as a team. Something on that. Leadership qualities, basically.
How do you work as a team?
Yes.
How do we work as a team? Asha will tell you. Come here, Asha. Asha will tell you how we work as a team.
I think being on a team, first taking off from where ma'am started, clarity or transparency of purpose is the biggest strength on any team. Because there's only one vision, there's only one single vision, so there's a steadfast focus, and everybody on the team has only that. There's no hidden agendas, there are nothing else to be done. So when the whole team has only one vision and only one direction, that is the best thing, and that comes from excellent mentorship, which is so essential for a team. So that would be there. And for each team member, I think we need to understand that each one is a very essential part of the team. You can't survive by yourself. Each one has to be like interwoven. We are interwoven with each other, and only the collaborative effort brings the success which is so desired. As ma'am has always told us, leadership is about co-opting leaders, creating leaders and making leaders. Nobody is one leader by themselves. We have to co-opt leaders. We just met women in administration this morning in this very hall. We just met, and madam had to say that it has to be sisterhood, women supporting women, like that. In the same thing, I would say it's about team members supporting each other, co-opting leaders, and madam said something about having a cascading effort. 1 + 1. So when you're mentored by one, you're made a leader, then you create it further down. From personal experience, we've all people in the Rajnivas been people like in the woodworks, no? We're all working, always the limelight is on the Lieutenant Governor. Now ma'am has pulled all of us out, one example here. So then when we get our own, when we get opportunities, we like to pull out people who are working on our team. So that's a cascading effect of working on a team. Co-opt, understand, and have a singularity of purpose. Thank you, ma'am.
I want to share a very important learning that I've had while working with ma'am. So one of the beautiful things about working with her is that she will recognize you for the ability that you have. Okay? So it's never about, she intuitively will give the task to a person who she thinks is best fit for it. And she'll make the person feel very special about that ability. Sometimes I've seen her give a tougher task to the same person, and I'm left wondering why is she doing it. And when I have my discussion with her about it, that's when she tells me, she says, you know what, this person is now ready to move to the next level. So as a team leader, it's very important for you to understand the potential of your team member. It doesn't mean what you see. Potential is not just what you see on the table from past experience or from what you've heard, but also recognize over a period of time what that person is capable of and learn to push them for it. So raising that bar is a very, very important skill that we've all learned from ma'am. We keep pushing our own respective team members to raise that bar. My team is here, as you can see, and they are pretty much very, very cool about now raising that bar automatically on their own. So that's another very important leadership skill that you should know.
Okay, I'll add to whatever has been said so far because they're very strong team members. Get the message right. You want more? You want less? How much do you want? Less or more? You want more? Then you have to have more people. If you want less, you're enough. That's fine. You want more, then multiply. And that's your team. In the multiplication, sometimes you are already having, you're inheriting the team. And sometimes you're creating a team. If I want more, I need more people. Unless I and the machine is enough. If I want more, I get a machine, I feed in and I get my machine. So machine and me are a team. And even that team, that machine needs care. Even that machine needs servicing. Even the machine needs respect. Otherwise it comes to a grinding halt. So what I'm saying is human beings, team means, leadership team means, if I want more, I have to accept what I have been inherited or I make my team. So that's why I was saying, you're all team members already. You can choose your own business teams here. Who am I compatible with? Who is equally hardworking, very creative, honest, close by, has the same vision? That's your team member. That's co-leadership, as was mentioned. So A is, if you're choosing your team, then you'll know who you vibe with. Who is in the same wavelength, you get to know. That's your team member. After that, it's not to use them. Not to use them. Co-opt them. They must get the credit for their work. So don't be credit snatcher. Be a credit giver. Then they'll remain in your team. Otherwise they'll leave you. Why should they? They're not slaves. Slavery is gone. So they're equal team members. Yes, but you are a senior member of the team and sometimes you may have to push them. But you're not pushing them to hurt them. It's pushing them to make them do better. For them to realize that you had more. Why haven't you put in more? So team member means that person who you know, like for instance, my junior is a team member. He knows more than me because he's got more years of experience. So should I say you report to me or we work together? So I don't say you report to me, say we work together. The person will never. So team member is whom you equally value for their presence, and as a team member, you give them their space, you give them space to grow, contribute, and fly. As long as they're happy with you, they'll stay. The moment they're not happy, let them go. Don't hang on. because they have their own space to go. It's very, very important. You cannot hold people back. They will stay with you as long as they're getting their due and they continue to grow. They too must continue to grow wherever they are. That's called team membership. So team member is equal respect, equal sharing, equal grooming and feeling of security. Also saying, don't worry, if you wish to go, go. But then I will have to start all over again for somewhere else. So you need to be prepared as a leader to sometimes start all over again. It's happened in my lifetime. I've lost some very good secretaries in my life. They were groomed, they became they somewhere passed away. I miss them even now. They were members of the team. But then you start all over again. That's what life is all about. Many days we start all over again. But team person will be with you only as long as they respect you. They trust you. As Asha said, you must be authentic. It's called authentic leadership. Trustworthy leadership. Predictive leadership. You need to be predictive. Many times people, in Rajnivas, if they feel that a particular decision is required, they say send the file to Rajnivas. Why? Because they know the decision will be this. So that's called predictive leadership. So team leading is sometimes you play the card you're dealt with and sometimes you shuffle the cards yourself. You have a capacity to bring in. This is leadership all about. But leadership is learned and acquired and born with. There are lots of things you're born with, many things which you learn.
Ma'am, so I just want to be real. I mean, for a day I feel like I can conquer the world, I can be independent and all. And then the next day I feel like I'm worthless, I started to doubt myself. And I don't know, it's because of my age or I don't know that I'm still on the lane of learning. I just wanted to know, have you ever felt it and how did you overcome it, ma'am?
I haven't felt worthless any day. But all I can feel is I could do more on a particular day. Maybe I think I can do more. But question here is, this is what brainwash is all about. Mind will continue to be fickle. In fact, these are the games that our minds play with us. It puts you at the top, it brings you down. So when it puts you down, then you have to tell the mind that I know you're trying to pull me down, I take you up. Means you and mind are two separate. You are not the mind. You are not the mind. You are outside the mind. There's a mind outside the mind. There's a story I read many years ago. There was one man who went up he wanted to go up, but he didn't. He told the Lord, hey, you sent me into such a stupid world, and it's full of pollution, it's crime, etc. And God, why did you send me here? I was okay upstairs. He said, because I wanted you to be a better you. So there's a you in a you. There's a mind in a mind. So when the mind pulls you down, you should become aware. That's an alarm signal that I'm trying. It's like whichever the devil or the angel, which is stronger, as it said, the one you feed. You feed the angel more, the angel will get stronger. You feed the devil more, the devil will get stronger. Whomever you feed. How do you feed? Is it food you feed? It's a thought you feed. So you need to separate your mind over a mind. The mind pulls you down, the mind gives you high. Every morning the thought is different. That's the beauty of this mind. When you get up in the morning, it's many where it said, immediately write down what are you thinking today. If you start writing down whatever you're thinking today, you're finding every day it's thinking differently. Why? That's the mystery of mind. So sleep with the positivity so that you get up with positivity and get on to positivity again. Don't slip into it. Don't let your negativity overrule you. If it's developing it, that's the time to say, I know, you're trying to wake up, get off my back. So you have to be more alert. Policing your mind is critical. So don't be the mind. Be the mind over the mind.
Thank you, ma'am.
Remember the Indian movies, Hema Malini used to speak into a mirror, saying, "Mera boyfriend, wo bhi hai, ye bhi hai." She speaks to him also in the mirrors and she acts She is acting, she's speaking to her own self. She uses a mirror. It's called the mirror therapy. So she mirrors herself, mirrors her thoughts. Ye karungi to ye ho jayega. So she acts two roles. And then she argues with herself. It's actually a mirror. Because maybe she doesn't know who to connect with. So she speaks to her own mirror, her own self, and getting an answer. Some earlier movies used to be like that.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for being such a inspiring woman, ma'am. My question is, whenever we talk about women empowerment, we always put blame on men. But I feel that women are the main hindrance for women empowerment. What do you feel, ma'am?
Everybody must take responsibility for themselves. It's very easy to blame them. You got everything. You are not less than any boy. There will be many boys who will be less than you. Many men less than you who will not have had this opportunity you have. So if you use your opportunity well, you'll be better than anybody else. But if you downgrade your own opportunity, underestimate your own potential, underutilize your own resources, then you are to blame. It's a fact. What keeps you people exercising every day and playing games and being outdoor? What stops you? How many of you girls are outdoor? You would never. Why? It's not your fault. The parents didn't push you. Schools don't push you. And you don't push yourself. Your friends hold you back. You remain the way you are. On the contrary, what stops you from going into the field? Be daring. Because unless you play, you will not be able to flex your muscles. They'll be all fixed and rigid. You need to flex your muscles. Go play. And you don't play only to win. You play to play. Play. You understand? So this is it. Unless you do this, you will not realize all other joys of life. Sing, dance. But have your limits. When I said have your limits, it's recently I saw the movie called Mom. That's when I meant have your limits. I saw the movie Mom. Fortunately, it was recorded and I could get to see it. And I couldn't stop seeing it. Look, the whole movie, if you've seen the movie Mom, it's worthwhile. You must see it if you haven't. One mistake cost the ladies, that actress, Sridevi. It cost her so much. That one mistake which the girl made, or going late to a bad party, where she got spiked, her drink got spiked. When her drink got spiked, she was pulled out and taken off and raped and then thrown off the road. And the consequences that followed. Because Mom, in this movie, Sridevi is a stepmom. So the girl was not accepting her as a mom. So she defied her. And of course, she went for a late party. So that's when I said, know your limits. That's what I meant. Sometimes we girls go for parties and do not forget our limits. And we get into the sway. You never know who's using your vulnerability then. So every right comes with a responsibility. Would you still go into joint bank accounts with your husbands you marry? With the men you marry, would you do joint accounts? Never.
Why will I?
You live jointly, but you don't save jointly. Have your joint account where you can spend jointly, but you must save. You must remain independent, in charge of your own bank accounts. Many women make many mistakes of these kinds because you're so heavily in love with each other, everything looks perfect. But honeymoons are honeymoons. They don't last forever. Joint account is surrender of financial independence. Then you're always taking permission to spend. So you can go spend jointly, but have your account independently.
Ma'am, in any field we go, this thing called...
Last question, I have to go down for 5 o'clock appointment.
Yes, any field we go, we have this thing called partiality, ma'am. Every time we do our best and give 100%, but still we are not come up, we are just pushed down. How to overcome that?
It depends on which situation you're seeing partiality.
Ma'am, every time, sometimes.
No, it depends. You have to analyze that situation. Is it on a professional stage? Is it parents? Is it family? Is it relationships? Is it school? Is it marks? Is it friends? Depends. How big or small. I am a believer in always dissect the problem and start dealing with it bit by bit. Use homeopathy.